The storm clouds gathered gently over the old stone chapel as the guests arrived, dressed in their finest and buzzing with celebration, unaware that a storm far heavier was about to break inside those walls. It wasn't the weather that carried tension. It was the trembling heart of a father who had spent years watching over his daughter, protecting her from the cruelties of the world. And on her wedding day, he stood outside the gates disguised as a scrap peddler, wearing ragged clothes and a beard of ash and dust. His name was Mr. Ryan Solberg, a man worth millions. Yet no one recognized him, not even the groom, who claimed to love his daughter Arwen beyond all measure. Ryan had a single purpose that morning, to test the heart of the young man marrying the most precious person in his life. But he never imagined the outcome would shatter Arwen's world before the ceremony even began. If you believe kindness and second chances make the world better, then please like, comment, share, and subscribe to Kindness Haven. And tell us in the comments, where are you watching from today? As the ceremony prepared to begin, the guests lined the red aisle while musicians tuned their instruments. Arwen stood inside the bridal room, radiant in her lace gown, rehearsing her vows with hope, trembling in her voice. She believed love could weather anything, that her future husband, Joran Mavis, was gentle and good. But Ryan, shaped by a lifetime of betrayals in business and family, knew too well that appearances could deceive. After Arwen's late mother passed, he had raised her alone, promising himself he would never let anyone break her heart. So when he sensed something hollow in Joran's smiles, something too polished and rehearsed, he decided to test whether the young men valued character or only wealth and convenience. Carrying a large sack filled with empty bottles, Ryan limped toward the chapel entrance, blending into the role he had prepared. His clothes smelled of earth and sweat, his hands darkened with soot. People stared but avoided him, whispering in discomfort, stepping aside as if his presence tainted the air. He absorbed every judgment quietly, let every dismissive glance carve deeper into the disguise he wore. What mattered was the groom's reaction. Joran arrived moments later, surrounded by groomsmen, his confidence towering as he adjusted his suit and smirked for photos. But when he saw the old peddler standing near the doors, his expression curdled instantly. From across the courtyard, Ryan watched Joran narrow his eyes in disgust, as though poverty itself offended him. When Ryan stepped a little closer, intentionally slow, Joran snapped, marching toward him with anger, flashing like a blade. Without warning, Joran began scolding him loudly, accusing him of ruining the ceremony, calling him worthless, telling him to leave before staining the wedding with his filth. Each word struck the air like a stone. The guests froze in shock, but none spoke. Some lowered their eyes, others pretended not to see. And then, through the chapel doors, Arwen appeared, having heard the raised voices. Her face palled as she saw Joran towering over the hunched old men. She hurried toward them, her gown brushing the stone path, her breath shaking. Even then, she didn't recognize her father beneath the disguise. All she saw was cruelty, raw, unmasked cruelty from the men she believed she was going to spend her life with. Ryan's heart ached as he watched her crumble to her knees, pleading for calm, trying to understand how the men she loved could spit venom so easily. Joran, realizing she had seen his outburst, attempted to soften his tone, but the contempt remained in his eyes. He insisted the old man leave immediately, claiming he was protecting the dignity of the wedding. Ryan gently raised his face, meeting Joran's glare with a silent sadness. And in that moment, he knew everything he needed to know. He removed the rope belt around his waist, loosening the burlap bag and letting it fall to the ground. Then he lifted his hand slowly to peel away the dusty beard, revealing the face of the father the groom had never met, yet should have spoken to with respect regardless. Gasps rippled through the crowd as recognition dawned. Arwen's breath caught in her chest, her eyes widening in disbelief, her lips trembling as she whispered, "Father." Joran staggered backward, panic flooding his expression. He tried to form excuses, claiming he didn't know, saying he thought the man was a threat, but the truth was already spread out bare before everyone. The truth Joran couldn't hide even under the grandest vows. Ryan didn't speak immediately. Instead, he looked at his daughter with the weight of a lifetime of love pressing behind his eyes. The disguise may have hidden his wealth, but it could never hide the love he carried for her. When he finally spoke, his voice was tired yet firm. He explained that he had tested the groom not to embarrass him, but to protect Arwen from a future built on deception. With every word, Arwen's heart broke further, realizing that the men she had chosen had failed the simplest test of humanity, kindness to a stranger. The chapel grew silent, the celebration dissolving into heartbreak. Arwen rose slowly, her wedding gown shimmering under the fading sunlight as tears streaked down her cheeks. She understood that a marriage built on respect could endure storms, but one built on cruelty would collapse under its own weight. Near the end of the story, if it has touched your heart, please don't forget to like the video, share it with someone who needs hope, and subscribe to Kindness Haven for more stories that remind us what truly matters. Arwen removed her veil with trembling hands and placed it gently on the wooden bench beside her. She walked toward her father and embraced him tightly, burying her face in his shoulder. Ryan held her as though anchoring her to the earth, whispering that she deserved a love that lifted her, not one that belittled others. Joran tried to approach, but Arwen raised her hand, stopping him without a single word. Her silence spoke louder than any argument. The wedding never continued. Instead, the guests quietly dispersed, carrying with them a lesson they would never forget. Ryan led his daughter away from the shattered moment and toward a future still ripe with possibilities. One where her heart could heal and where she could someday meet someone whose character shone brighter than wealth or reputation. Please comment below what part of the story moved you the most. In the end, Arwen realized something powerful. True love is never measured by extravagant ceremonies or polished appearances, but by how gently someone treats the world, especially those they gain nothing from. And sometimes the greatest blessings are the heartbreaks that save us from greater mistakes.